Have you heard the latest rumor going around? The one saying that every single SNAP recipient in America might soon be forced to reapply from scratch? If that made your heart skip a beat, you're definitely not alone. A lot of families are panicking, wondering if one missing document or one late form could suddenly take away their benefits. But here's the twist. The official information from the USDA doesn't match what some government officials have been saying publicly. And when you hear both sides, especially the quiet rule that kicks in starting in 2028, the whole picture becomes a lot clearer, and honestly, a lot more complicated. Before we go deeper, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing you wish SNAP did better for you or your family? Your answer might help someone else feel understood. Now let's break down what's really happening. This whole wave of confusion started with the new legislation recently signed into law, one of the biggest SNAP overhauls in years. During interviews, one of the key figures behind these changes, Brooke Rollins, said that the administration wants to rebuild SNAP from the ground up. At one point, she even suggested that everyone might need to reapply. And if you've ever dealt with a full reapplication, you know that's not a small ask. It can mean interviews, document gathering, long waits, and sometimes weeks without answers. But then the USDA stepped in with their official clarification. And what they said was very different from the reapply from scratch message people heard. According to the USDA, there is no national order for a complete reapplication. Instead, they say households should continue following the same recertification schedule they've always had, usually every 6 months or once a year. That matters because recertifying is just updating your information. Reapplying means starting from zero. So officially, nothing major has changed about the process you're personally required to follow today. But if that's true, why is there so much fear? Why are community groups, advocates, and even state agencies worried? It's because the rules surrounding SNAP eligibility are already shifting, and they're shifting fast. One of the biggest changes is the expansion of work requirements. The age used to be 18 to 49. Now it stretches all the way to 65. That means someone who is 63, maybe struggling to find work due to age discrimination, is held to the same standards as someone half their age. On top of that, exemptions have tightened. Previously, caring for a child under 18 exempted you from work requirements. Now that cutoff is 14. That alone pushes thousands of caregivers into new obligations they weren't prepared for. And several groups who had exemptions before, including veterans, homeless individuals, and former foster youth, lost them entirely. The only group gaining new exemptions are American Indians. Supporters of these rule changes argue they promote fairness and reduce abuse. Critics argue the rules ignore real-world struggles like unreliable work schedules, low wages, lack of transportation, and limited job opportunities, especially in rural areas. And then there's the numbers. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that around 4 million people could lose SNAP benefits by 2034 because of these new rules. And that includes entire households, not just individuals. If one adult loses eligibility, the whole family feels it. Advocates point out something important here. The majority of SNAP families already include at least one working adult. These are people doing their best, often in unpredictable or low-pay jobs. So when new rules get stricter, they're the ones who feel it first. But here's the part very few people are talking about, and it's why some states may eventually push people to reapply even if the federal government never orders it. Starting in 2028, states will have to pay part of the cost of SNAP if they make what the federal government considers too many errors. And that penalty could add up to around $1 to $100 billion nationwide. Think about what that means. Many states already have outdated computer systems, staffing shortages, and long backlogs. Now imagine those states suddenly being held financially responsible if they don't catch every single paperwork mistake. This rule gives states a major incentive to tighten verification, push for more frequent checks, or require additional documents, not because they want to, but because they can't afford the penalties. And that's one of the biggest reasons people worry reapplications could still happen in certain states later on. And the pressure is already showing. During the government shutdown in November, some food banks reported demand surging by more than 1,000%. That's what happens when SNAP payments are paused even for a short time. Families feel it instantly. And many food banks say demand hasn't completely returned to normal because families are still living with uncertainty. So what does all this mean for you? Here's the simple answer. Right now, you do not need to reapply unless your state directly notifies you. Continue your regular recertification. Keep your information updated. Check your mail and online portal often. And if you get a letter asking for something, respond quickly. Missed deadlines are one of the easiest ways to lose benefits, even when you still qualify. But stay informed, because the gap between what's happening publicly and what states are preparing for behind the scenes is big enough that future changes are absolutely possible. And now I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you wish the government understood about people who use SNAP? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters more than you know. If you found this helpful, feel free to share it and take care of yourself. More updates are coming soon.